Well, what's on your mind today?
Oh, what's on my mind today? First of all, I'm having a me day away from all of the other homeless because it's kind of overwhelming sometimes trying to take care of everyone else around you.
Is this okay then?
Yeah.
Um, so that's gotta be stressful.
Not really. I'm excited to go to Portland and
Where are you, jerk?
those are my cans!
But you came from Portland.
I'll sell you
No, I was just in Washington.
50 cents.
Stop please.
I'll sell you a can for 50 cents.
Stop. You're being ridiculous. Tara! You know everyone. Stop. Go to sleep. Yeah. I'm trying to get video tapes right now.
What's the dog's name again?
Tara.
Huh?
Tara.
Tara.
Dude. Stop. Shh.
What are you looking forward to in Portland?
Well, Tara's pregnant as fuck.
Uh-huh.
She's gonna pop in like 2 weeks. So I'm gonna go to Portland and see my best friend / ex-boyfriend and have lots of puppies. Shh. Children are meant to be seen and not heard. Quiet.
So you need a more stable place to be for a little while.
Yeah. Cause I don't know, like traveling and being by yourself, like I know people here, but I don't know people here, if that makes sense to you. This person I actually know and spent like the last 2.5 years with. So that makes it a lot easier. Those are my cans. Get off my cans.
Would you consider this kind of like a reconnaissance mission coming down here? Like kind of just get to know like the lay of the land.
Yeah, I had never been to Washington, so it was kind of cool to go up there. And the fact that you can bus the entire length of Washington for less than like $10 is really cool.
Yeah.
I got to go all the way. I got to go up to like Whidbey Island and take the ferries.
Oh, really?
And I got to see Seattle, which was really cool.
Uh-huh. What was your impression of Seattle?
Drugs. Lots of drugs. But I tried to hang out in the college area, right on the Ave,
Uh-huh.
the university and stuff. So that was kind of cool.
What God, how do I ask the question? Like, I mean, drugs are kind of one of the things I'm interested in too. But,
Okay, you can ask me all the questions.
about drugs.
Yeah.
What types of, like, we know it's like an underground economy, but like what type of shifts are happening in that economy? Like what type of things come and go and why?
Well, like I'm from the East Coast and this is the West Coast, and so the first time I came out to the West Coast was California, and so like people are like, hey, like this is what methamphetamine is, and I was like, oh, that's weird because in New York it does not exist. The mob keeps it out because they run crack and cocaine and stuff like that. So like when I came out here, that was really weird, and like even heroin is different from the East Coast and the West Coast, and everyone's dying. Everyone's dying. It's terrible.
Well, you kind of like China White on the East Coast, but is that stepped on to the same degree it is stepped on here on the West Coast?
I think not. Like I think about all my friends that have died from heroin usage in the last few years, and all of them have been on the East Coast and in the South, where it's China White and not black tar, because it's easier to incorporate the fentanyl in the carfentanil.
How about pink? Is that something that's ending up in heroin
What?
or the synthetic heroin?
Yeah, that would be the fentanyl and the carfentanil.
There's something I've heard about called gray death too, like another pink and
Yeah,
fentanyl and heroin.
it's not good. Like I went to jail in Buffalo, and that's right next to like an Indian reservation, and I was in jail with a couple girls who actively seek out fentanyl, like straight fentanyl.
But you say that's why people are dying.
Yeah, it is, because it's a million times stronger. So people who are used to having to do like 3-4 bags, 3-4 10 bags to like get well are doing that with fentanyl and they die.
So when you say bags, you're talking like 50 bags of brick on the East Coast, or
Well,
points
in the
here
East
per
Coast it
gram.
comes in like, well, I guess in the Northeast it comes in bundles, which is like 10 wax bags bundled together.
So that's, how many grams is that?
It would just be 1 gram. It would
1
be
gram,
a point.
10 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing here too, except I think there's different prices. If you're in Portland or Astoria, or
Yeah, like down in Medford, Oregon, it's $20 a point for heroin.
$200 gram.
Yeah.
But if you know somebody, it'd be like $80 for a gram.
Well, I know people that run from Portland to Medford, and they make so much money. It's stupid. But
What about other synthetic drugs? I mean, if people talk about like 2CB or
2CB, 2CI, and 2CE are all research chemicals that people try to pass off as LSD usually.
and bombs, things like that,
Yeah,
on water vapor.
yeah. And the last time I did that kind of stuff was in Vegas. And like it wasn't a bad time, but it's not acid. There's a very, very clear difference.
Because my understanding is you're talking tryptamines or phenethylamines, or two completely different classes of
Right.
drugs.
Right. And like a 2CI or a 2CB or a 2CE, if you put that in your mouth, you can taste it. Whereas acid is odorless, colorless, tasteless. You won't be able to taste it when you put it in your mouth.
Do you identify as a drug user?
I mean, like, I do drugs.
So what is, in your mind, what is it that you're seeking?
I just kind of been going around trying to find my niche. Somewhere where, like, I can be for more than a week without wanting to blow my brains out. And acceptance, ultimately. Like, everybody seeks acceptance. Oh, I've never seen that guy like 10 times today. Thank you.
Well, I know, I mostly drank for 10 years, but it was also a period where I did drugs during that time too.
Yeah, I mean, like, above all else, like, I'm an alcoholic, and that's just, like, the way that it is, and, that's just, I hate to stigmatize, homeless people as a whole, because some people are homeless because they have mental problems, some people are homeless because they were just dealt a bad hand in life, and some people are homeless because they ultimately choose to be. So I hate to, like, lump them all together, but, like, most homeless people are alcoholics and drug users. But, like, that doesn't make them bad people at all.
Well, if you could back that up a frame, we also know the people who are struggling with, mental health issues medicate in order to change their mindset.
Right. Whether in a positive way or sometimes a very, very negative way.
Which is the bad consequence of street drugs if you don't know what you're getting.
Right, and, like, self-medication is tricky because, like, people are tending to diagnose themselves with, like, all these random things lately. Like, everyone has anxiety, everyone's bipolar, and all this stuff, and everyone just kind of wants to put labels on it, and it's just like, no, like, you're human, you have issues. Like, some people, yes, obviously, like, have schizophrenia real bad and stuff like that. But I feel like doctors and the pharmaceutical companies are trying to put this thing in people's head that there's something wrong with everyone, and they're trying to, like, push medications on people, and it kind of weirds me out. I was housed up recently for like 6 months, and they put me on 100 milligrams of Zoloft. And she told me, she's like, at first it's gonna make it kind of worse, but then it'll get better. I was like, is there anything that I cannot do on this medication? She's like, no, not really. It's like, I can drink. And she's like, oh, I wouldn't drink excessively, but I wouldn't recommend that anyway. And every time I took it and drank, I would black out. I would drink like a beer and black out. And I was like, well, that's something that you definitely should have told me. And like, not to mention, it was the first time I had ever met this woman. We had like a 20-minute conversation and she just prescribed me drugs.
And she didn't take time to get to know you.
No, not at all.
But what should she have been finding out? What should she have been asking you?
I mean, she should have referred me to a psychologist who would have actually sat down and tried to figure out exactly what the problem was. Because it seems like you're having a little bit of depression and some anxiety. So like, I'll prescribe you this because it does all of those things.
It's like shooting a shotgun inside of a barn, though.
And like those kind of medications are really tricky because like that shit can make you suicidal.
Yeah, I had Effexor for a while, and that made me want. I had these random thoughts about running out in front of cars. So I never thought of that in my life.
I think people just need to slow their roll with that kind of stuff. Like sometimes like things just aren't working out and you're a little bit stressed and you need to just relax. It doesn't all need to be solved with like little pills. It really doesn't.
So who in your experience has provided you the best psychiatric care? I mean, from a peer or a doctor or in your experience?
My 6th grade counselor. Because she never judged me and she'd always just sit and listen. And she wouldn't try to like constrict my thoughts and push things in the direction she wanted to talk about them. Like, I don't know, she was a really cool lady.
So she sounds like she was good at empathetic listening.
Right.
What did you get out of that experience that you didn't get out of other helpful experiences?
It just didn't feel forced. Like when I was in elementary school, anyone who had a dead parent once a week had to go to this meeting in this weird little room. It was like a dead parents club, and it was very forced. And they wanted you to like talk about your feelings, and it's like, we're in elementary school. We don't know how we feel about that.
You don't have the sophistication.
You don't understand those things at all.
Yeah.
Like I'm in like the 3rd grade. What are you doing?
And that was something you got referred into.
Yeah, it was mandatory. It was really weird.
Well, what do you think is lacking since you're talking about the psychiatric mental health care system? What do you think is really lacking?
People who actually care. Because like I can tell, like when you get 5150'd and you get sent to the 4th floor, most of the time these doctors and these nurses just don't care. They get paid to do what they're doing and they don't actually care.
So a 5150 is like a real stigma. Like you're with somebody.
Well, because 5150 is being a danger to yourself, and a 5250 is a danger to yourself and others.
Which tells me they can treat you however they want to treat you.
Right. And like all it needs is 3 signatures from people that know you, and they can have you committed to a psychiatric facility. And like honestly, some schizophrenic people are like the happiest fucking people that I've ever fucking met. And they're fine. They like doing what they're doing. They're not hurting themselves. They're not hurting anyone else. They're wandering around and doing their own thing. Leave them the fuck alone.
Well, a program I worked in, they taught us that for the most part, people with schizophrenia are not interested in interacting with other people. They're like the least dangerous people you can imagine. They
Right.
just want to be left alone.
And people don't understand, like, I think that there needs to be like more classes for police officers and paramedics to deal with those kinds of situations, because like if you go to a schizophrenic person and a cop feels threatened and you pull a gun on a schizophrenic person and they're in a weird mindset that day, they're gonna wig out. They don't know what you're saying. They don't know what the fuck's going on. You're scaring them. You're backing them into a corner. So of course they're going to react. But if you were to approach them quietly and humanely, maybe that wouldn't happen. Maybe you wouldn't have to put them in handcuffs and freak them the fuck out and put them in a cop car. You know, it just doesn't.
So really, there needs to be more education amongst people who intervene, and
Right.
provide services.
Like the fact that cops who enroll in the police academy spend like 6 months learning how to become a cop to enforce laws that they don't even know. Go to fucking law school, then become a cop. Lawyers should be cops.
So, in your experience, have you ever encountered anything like I've got a training in peer training once for I think 40-hour. You know, that taught me that to look at it from the inside. Have you ever encountered that?
Oh, sorry, what? I totally said
Have
that.
you ever been involved with a group of people who got it?
I don't know. Like I've met a lot of people who, you know what? Honestly, like most people like that I've met are other homeless people, and they just don't have the resources that they need or are available to be productive, I guess. Like some of these, especially like the new and up and coming generation of kids that are now on the streets, are some of the smartest people that I've ever met. And I honestly wholeheartedly believe it's because they're understimulated. Because class sizes are too big. You can't fucking focus on all these kids. And the smartest ones, and there's like, oh, well, you can't focus. You have ADHD. Here's some fucking Adderall. That's not helpful to anybody.
There's always a drug that's the answer.
They're not being stimulated enough. That's why they can't focus. They're bored out of their fucking minds.
Did you have an experience like that?
I mean, yeah, but like I went through the motions and I did my test and I handed in my shit and I graduated a year early. And I said, fuck that shit. It's dumb. It's all memorization, regurgitation, forget it at the end of the year.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is probably too big of a question, but what needs to change?
I know exactly what needs to change when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I'll tell you. I think it's Norway that does this. In your elementary school years, they do all sorts of different tests and things like that to see what areas in life you excel at. And from there, they put you into those kinds of courses. And I think that that's like the smartest thing that you could possibly do for people. Because kids that would normally get like an A in science and then like D's in the rest of their classes, you could just put them through a bunch of science courses and they can end up being like the smartest scientists you ever met. Of course, they're going to have to put you through some math and stuff like that, but what the fuck do you need history for if you're a fucking scientist?
Well,
I mean, history for science is one thing, but what the fuck do you need to know about American history?
So I think they force people into this same stamp, the same, same box. There's the same.
Like, what the fuck do I need to know French for? Why? Or Latin? No one speaks Latin. Why is that even an option?
So where did the education system miss the boat for you? What skills were missed?
I mean, I guess just school was just like laughable for me because it was just so easy. It was boring to me. I didn't want to go because it was boring. And I didn't have the time. And I still graduated with honors and early.
So pretty much you're saying you didn't get the stimulation you needed in order to develop.
Right. Nothing interested me enough to want to move forward with my education.
Are you saying that living an alternative lifestyle provides those challenges? So you
Yes.
can actually use your brain?
It does. Because my mom says it all the time that like she takes pride in the fact that like you could drop me off in the middle of nowhere with nothing and I can figure it out. I'll make friends, I'll get myself out of that situation and, stuff like that. And I've learned a lot more this way than I feel like I would have any other way.
when do you think you're going to be at the end of this skill set? Like with any skill set, you kind of reach an end and then you move on to another skill set.
I mean, it's not like I'm not tired of it, but I feel like every time, like I was just down in New Orleans for almost a year and I had a job and all that stuff, and the rug just seems to get pulled out from under me every time I start to get comfortable and get into a routine. And I can't tell if it's my self-sabotage that does it or the universe just saying, like, you're not done yet.
Which do you lean toward?
I mean, of course I wouldn't like to think that it's my own fault. Nobody does.
Well, when you think that way, what happens?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Do you tend to see a pattern or a theme or...
Yeah. I guess. Sorta.
So you do maybe today, take some me time and actually kind of consult yourself? Or how do you deal with that?
I guess, I don't know, I guess I just know myself really, really well to the point where I really don't even have to think about it anymore because I just know.
Would you say second guessing yourself could be dangerous?
Yes.
So
Yes,
you
I
can
do.
avoid it?
Yes. At all costs.
It's probably not a healthy habit living out on the street.
No, but I feel like I kind of look at it this way, if I hadn't ended up out on my ass and having to figure it out for myself, I'd probably be a really pretentious bitch. It's been a very humbling experience. And it's taught me not to judge people. And on a different note, when it comes to judging people, I've noticed typically when you make a snap judgment at someone, it's typically you projecting your own insecurities onto them. If I see a girl walking down the street and I'm just she's too skinny. She needs to eat a cheeseburger. It's probably because I have an issue with my own weight, right?
So you're already kind of tuned in on that level. You recognize that brain mechanism does that. That's your...
Yeah.
And you process it quickly. You don't stay there.
Yeah.
So that's probably a survival skill in a way too.
It's really easy for me, in the moment when things are happening, as long as tensions aren't too high, I can typically pick myself up out of my shoes and put myself in the shoes of the people around me in the situation and be able to see things through their perspective as well, or as much as I think that I can.
How did you acquire that skill?
Fuck yeah. I don't smoke weed, interestingly enough. Alright. I think because I started honestly doing drugs and all of those things at a really, really young age. And when I was 15 years old, my boyfriend was 32. So that means he's 18 years my senior. So I've just been around older people my whole life. And it just came to me a lot quicker than most people.
I guess that's in a way that's, with drugs as well, you kind of they always talk about gateway drugs, right? A gateway drug is only in existence as far as you've got that gateway into that group.
Right.
Every group does its own, this group doesn't do weed, this group does alcohol, this group does meth, whatever. So that's...
Well, when I was hanging out with those kind of people, it was going to music festivals and shows and going on tour, and so it was all hallucinogens and ketamine and Molly, things that heighten your senses a lot. So it makes you like a lot more perceptive to all the things going on around you, and I did a lot of it.
Sharpen those faculties.
Yes.
And you think, I'm assuming, I'm going to make an assumption that you carry that with you, like those experiences like that stay with you a long time.
Yeah, right. Like I did it so much that like I literally cannot do it anymore. I'm completely burnt out on it.
What else did you get out of that in terms of like valuable life experience? Like hallucinogens? Or if you were recommending one to somebody, how would you sell it to them? On what qualities?
I would tell people, well, I mean, first of all, hallucinogens, LSD is not for everyone. Like, I wouldn't feed it to some random person on the street without getting to know them a little bit, because, like, I've seen that go really wrong. You need to be comfortable. You need to be comfortable with your own mind before you do that kind of stuff. But at the same time, like, taking that stuff by myself and, like, walking out into the woods was probably one of the most helpful things that I've ever done. You need to do that kind of stuff by yourself after a while.
And how did you know you would have the safety required to have that experience?
Because, I mean, like, I guess I just didn't. I just kind of trusted that it would work out. And that's how I live on a daily basis. It's just kind of like the universe will provide somehow, some way. Like yesterday, it pissed rained all day. It was like, okay, well, I don't have any cigarettes. I don't have any booze. Like, I could have a fucking seizure if I don't have any alcohol. And I sat in an alcove all day. And then someone came up and handed me $20.
You tell me your alcohol consumption's at that level. Well, let me make another broad generalization, but I think something that seems true to me is that alcohol tends to negate the positive effects of like hallucinogens. Like it's more of it's inhibitive, you know.
Yeah, it's a downer. It's a downer just like heroin. But like, I've been a heroin addict for 11 years and I'm 24 years old. My first shot of heroin when I was 13.
How did that happen?
Boys.
Do you feel like it's luck that you survived, or?
My mom thinks so. My mom seems to think so. I always thought I was going to be one of those people who like live fast, die young, kind of a thing. Like I did not anticipate to make it almost to 25, that's for sure. But now I'm kind of at that point where I feel like I'm one of those people who are going to be cursed to live for fucking ever.
How so?
Because like I've just done it and been through. It's still working.
It's still working.
Yeah. I've just done and been through so much at this point that like if it has not killed me yet, I don't know what will.
But there is that thing that once you get that level of insight, sometimes you need to be more careful.
I mean, I'm careful. I'm not like completely reckless. Which I mean, like, it depends on what people's perception of reckless really is, because to most people, like, my life would seem very reckless. But, like, to other people that also live this general kind of lifestyle, like, I think I'm pretty safe about the way that I do things.
Well, there is that. It's another psychological thing, that locus of control, that if you feel you are more in control than you are, safer that way, because you're the ones in control.
Right.
You're not affected by external.
Right.
So you're actually maybe stronger.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's also that thing, like, fake it till you make it. Like, when I left Port Angeles, like, I left one of my friends I was hanging out with, and he was like, all right, well, when you take the buses back down there, like, make sure you don't get stuck in Aberdeen. You've been to Aberdeen? Aberdeen's very ghetto. There's a lot of sex trade and stuff like that. It's a pretty ghetto place. And like, lo and behold, I get stuck in Aberdeen for the evening. I'm like, yeah, I'm a little nervous. Probably mostly because my friend made me a little nervous. But like, if you're gonna walk through the ghetto, being a small white girl, like I do sometimes, if you walk around looking like a scared white girl, you're gonna be preyed on like a scared white girl. If you walk around acting like you know exactly where you're going and exactly what you're doing, you're going to be fine. 9 times out of 10.
Has that ever backfired on you?
Not really.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of have a knack for finessing myself into the situations I know that I need to be in.
Uh-huh. Well, if I went to Aberdeen today, what would be the first sign that there's sex trade going on? What would you see?
I mean, if you get off at the bus station, take a right down the street, right next to the fucking, right next to the beer store. There's a rub and tug across the street.
So it's just kind of off the grid a little bit.
Yeah.
Those who know.
It's really interesting. And like, I just had like a bunch of like home bums try to tell me like, hey, let's go down by the water. There's like a homeless encampment down there. We can hang out and drink and this and that. And I was like, dude, like, I'm chilling right here. Like, I'm drinking my beer and like I'm going to bed. Like, I have to be up at 7 in the morning to catch a bus. Like, I'm not trying to party tonight. Like, just leave me alone. Like, you want to hang out? Like, we can hang out here. Like, I'm not going off in some direction with some random people that I don't know.
You've got good boundaries, good intuition.
Well, like, sometimes I do that, but like, only when I feel comfortable doing it.
Well, that's, you know, when I do these conversations, lately I've talked to a lot of men and I haven't talked to many women lately, but one of the things I'm trying to assess is like, you know, what are the actual risks and how well do you navigate them?
Of being a woman?
Yeah, on the street.
On the street? I mean, it makes it easier in some ways and harder in others. It makes it easier for money. It'll make it easier, like, if you try to start a conversation with somebody because you really need something and stuff like that, people are more prone to help you. But, like, it's also way easier for someone to take advantage of you. So, like, when I hitchhike, and, like, typically, I mean, not right now, I usually wear, like, a pair of Carhartts, like men's Carhartts, and, like, a bigger sweatshirt.
So they can't see your body size.
Nobody can tell that I'm a girl when I walk down the street. And, like, I'll tuck my hair up into my hat, and I'll fucking throw my thumb out. And if someone stops, they stop. If they don't, they don't. But I don't want people stopping just because they're like, there's a girl on the side of the road. Doesn't look like anyone would miss her, you know? But I also take precautions. Like, if I feel comfortable, like I'm uncomfortable, I have no problem saying, like, I'm not getting in your car. Like, thanks for stopping, but no thanks. Or, like, I'll act like I have a phone. Or sometimes I do have a phone, and I'll be like, can I take a picture of your license plate and send it home to my mom so she knows where I'm at? And if they say no, clearly there's an issue. If they say yes, like, typically I won't even do it. I'll just get in the car. I don't get in trucker cabs by myself. They all carry guns, and most of them are high on drugs. And weird. And try to preach to me about Jesus, and it's too much for me.
So you have some actual real precautions and you use your intuition.
Right.
It sounds like maybe experience too.
Yeah, like I've been traveling for almost 6 years, and like I'm pretty sure I got the hang of it at this point. But like I don't typically travel by myself anyway. And I guess that's another defense mechanism, is like I typically have a significant other. I always have a boyfriend. So there's typically somebody else always there to look out for me too. That, or I'll travel with a girlfriend. A friend. It's a girl, whatever. And that makes it easier too. Like, traveling alone is not And it gets really boring. Like, if you get in the middle of Wyoming and you're by yourself, it's like, this is dumb, and I'm bored. Life is more beautiful when you have someone else to share it with, I think.
Why is that?
I guess, I don't know, like, I could be the most beautiful place in the world. Like, I could go to the Grand Canyon and be all by myself, and I'm like, wow, this is so cool. Like, look at that one thing. Look at that one thing over there. But there's nobody else there to observe it with you. And I feel like it takes away from the beauty. And I don't know why, I guess.
It's a different feeling than if there was somebody there with you.
Right.
Sadness or something like that.
Because I feel like above everything else in life, like, human connection is the most important thing. You need to be able to connect with people. If you can't connect with people, like, you're totally shit out of luck.
Has anything changed in the last 6 years, like from starting this experience to this point, that you feel more connected to the type of people you meet are different, or?
I mean, yeah, like, I don't snub my nose at people who, I don't think I'm better than anyone. I don't snub my nose at people. Like, if I have something to give, like, I will give it to somebody, and I couldn't imagine never having done any of this. And, like, it's rippled out into the people that I know from home. Like, my mom and my friends all look at people like me differently now. Like, my mom goes out of her way to pick up hitchhikers and meet people and hand $20 bills to homeless people. Like, my mom, for my 21st birthday, she called me and she was like, where are you going to be for your 21st birthday? I was like, I don't know, Mom, why? She's like, 'cause I'm going to fly out. I want to see you. I was like, all right, cool. Flying to LAX. Flying to LA. And she came and she picked us up, and we got a hotel room, and we took her to Venice Beach, and she helped my boyfriend, like, score some weed. We drank beers on the beach, and she had a rental car, and we pulled up to a stoplight, and I saw some other traveler kids, and I rolled down the window, and they had a Little Caesars pizza. And I was like, hey, let me eat a slice of that pizza. And they're like, all right, cool. And they gave me a slice of pizza. My mom was like, don't take from them. Don't do that. I'll buy you some pizza. I was like, Mom, just wait. Give me $20. She was like, why? Just $20. She gave me $20, and I handed it to Mom out the window. She goes, is that what your life is like? And I was like, yeah, Mom. Free pizza and $20 bills. That's my fucking life.
That's awesome.
And then she came down to New Orleans this last year, and she sat down on the sidewalk and drank a half gallon of vodka and handed $20 bills to all my friends. Because, like, I had a job at the time in, like, a place, so, like, I didn't fucking need it. But, like, she sat down on the sidewalk where all the bums sit on Decatur Street and handed out $20 bills and got fucking shit-faced wasted.
Well, it's like changing one mind at a time. You know?
Right.
You go throughout life and reach out to people and learn something. Can you fast forward to a time in your life where this experience will help you through another learning experience, with another job or another goal in your life?
I mean, I don't know. Like, eventually, like, I hope to be involved in some sort of way to help other people once I've learned how to, like, get myself stable. I want to be able to help other people do the same thing. I mean, like, I do, but, like, sometimes I also don't, because, like, I know how some travelers, some homeless people are when, like, they're offered help, like, genuine help, and they take what they need from it and dip. So it's because I've been both sides of it. It just, I don't know. But, like, all in all, I know that this experience will, I don't know if I'll ever live a different kind of lifestyle than this. I honestly wholeheartedly don't know if I will ever be able to move past this. But if I do, I want to be able to do something fucking productive.
Which would mean?
I don't know, having a piece of land where people can come and stay and get their shit together, or be there for as long as they want and learn and grow and share with people and help each other.
Do you have a guiding ideology, or is it? I mean, the problem with going to college and stuff is you get these words that like I'm a socialist. You kind of get these concepts, but
Well, as far as college goes, like anything I can learn in college, I can go to the library and look up in a fucking book.
I mean, you probably have a clearer vision from your experience and having like gotten it out of a book.
Well, like I also feel like, okay, so like let me put it this way, like when I was a little bit younger, I was in the union and like I was going through an apprenticeship for painting because my stepdad was in the same union. And like I thought about it, like when I journey out and like I get down the road towards my retirement, all that pension and that annuity and all that money that was being saved up, dude, I'll probably never even see because like our economy is going to collapse eventually. It's gonna happen, and I feel like I'm gonna see that in my lifetime. I honestly wholeheartedly believe that like society will collapse in my lifetime. And it's an interesting point that my friends also point out all the time, that when that does happen, all of these rich assholes that are dicks to us on a daily basis, they're going to come to us for answers. Because we know how to do this. We know how to live outside. We know how to survive. Off of very little.
Well, this is one of the themes that comes up a lot, just talking to folks in transition, that any of these people, they're not going to know how to fix a fishing lure or
right. You don't know how to start a fire. You don't know how to.
Any of that stuff.
You don't know how to build a teepee. Like.
So they're basically going to be boned. I mean, they can't survive.
Right, and like I've heard some of my friends say like, and I ain't gonna help a goddamn one of them. But it's like, hold on a minute. Why not? If you don't, they could die. They could die. And all life is precious. I don't care who you are. All life is precious, and you can't take that shit for granted. That could be like the last person on earth that you meet, and just because like he was a pretentious asshole at some point, like you're gonna let the only other person on the planet die? Like, no, you're not. You're not gonna help him.
Well, it's also your opportunity to provide a teaching moment too.
Right.
And you get to be. It's kind of that power differential that always exists between people.
See, and that's the thing that like most people don't understand. Like, when someone walks by and you're like, "Hey man, could you spare a little change?" and they ignore you, or they lash out and they say something mean. You have no clue what that person's going through. Their son could be in the hospital dying of cancer. And they could just be having a bad fucking day. And then on the other hand, people who, like, okay, so a kid who grew up rich and privileged, they get their phone taken away. Big fucking deal to them, right? It's a really big deal because that's all that they know. Whereas, like, a big deal to me would, be, missing a free meal during the day. That would be a big deal to me. And just because those things are so different on opposite sides of the spectrum does not make their feelings or my feelings any different. They're the same.
Experience the same way.
Right. Me and that person both feel the same fucking way, even though those things are so different.
That's an interesting comparison. An interesting way to put it.
Like just because, like, it's just, do you know what I mean?
Well, because we experience things in a subjective and intense way.
Right.
Our emotions
like
are
that feels just as
overwhelming.
intense to them as that does for me.
But there's also this thing where I kind of hone on. It was like the scale of your experience is more appropriate to missing that meal than it is to somebody who's missing a phone. I mean, it seems like.
Right, but like that's because like they've never understood what it's like to miss a meal, and that's not their fault. They were raised that way. They were born into that. Right.
It's a cultural experience.
Right. But you know what?
We learn.
But you know what? When I was a kid, when my mom took my phone away, that was a big fucking deal.
When did you realize that was kind of just malarkey? I mean, that you didn't want to keep having that experience?
When I realized that exact comparison, I was in Vegas. When I was on 2CI,
Oh, yeah.
actually. I had a super big meltdown in the middle of the strip, and I was like, this is fucking sadness. Look at all these people. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and people are walking down the street with their newborn babies strapped to their chests. fucking this, that, and the other. Like, this world is bullshit. Like, and I just kind of, like, had a little bit of a connection about how some people just don't get it.
Well, it is the hallmark of hallucinogen, especially LSD in particular, that you have this kind of like selfless experience where you transcend the here and now, and you open up to the universe.
Yeah, it's but I don't know, like, you can also get those same things through, like, meditation. You know what I mean? You don't need drugs to do that. Sometimes it just helps. God, I'm so sick of being sick.
What does alcohol do for you?
It numbs the fact that, like, I know how imminent, like, the collapse of this society is, and how nobody realizes it. It scares me, these people who walk down the street, or people who wake up every day in their box that they, sleep in, and get into their little box, and they drive to another box, or they work all day to afford the box that they drive back to the box that they live in, that they never get to spend any time in because they're too busy in their other box. I just drives me fucking batty. And I don't get it, because those who, hold on, let me get this quote perfectly correct. It's a really good one. I have to think about it. Those who sacrifice freedom for security deserve neither. I just don't understand it.
But if you know anything about how our brains work, we have this salience and interest in things, and we tend to always go back to the same things, because that's, you get that sort of dopamine, you remember that's where you need to go.
Yeah, like, I can condone people who wake up every day and they go do something that they fucking love to do. Awesome. I'm so fucking happy for you that you enjoy waking up and going to do what you do every day. But those people who work 9 to 5 in a fucking cubicle, typing information into a computer all day, you don't fucking enjoy doing that. You know that you don't. So why the fuck are you doing it? Go find something you love to do and do it.
And in turn, what would that do to our society if we were all doing that?
Well, I mean, we're turning into an age where, like, artificial intelligence is a thing. So if everyone was doing things that they love, like, we could supplement with artificial intelligence. We wouldn't have to have people in boxes all day doing that. Like, people think, like, overpopulation is a problem. That's not true. That's just simply not true in America. It's not. They're all just consolidating themselves to areas like New York and LA and Dallas and Austin and big cities, Kansas City and fucking St. Louis. Go live in Wyoming in the middle of nowhere. You'll have all the space you could possibly need for you and your 10 fucking children.
Does that say something about your experience in the Northwest, like Port Angeles, Aberdeen, Astoria?
Dude, even places like this are not overpopulated. Yes, I think the East Coast is, there's a lot more people out there. I definitely think that. Because, I mean, like, there's more people in New York City than there is in the entire state of New York. That's where I'm from.
You're from New York City?
I'm from upstate New York.
Upstate New York. Upstate New York is pretty peaceful, though.
It is. And I'm from Rochester.
Uh-huh.
But, like, the Adirondack Mountains are some of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, well, I like the West Coast because you'll never see anything out on the East Coast like you'll see in Oregon. And that's bullshit.
I mean, every place is unique.
Yeah, it
You
is.
just have to experience it. Yeah, I like that area. Well, do you have anything you'd like to say as a summary?
Um, I mean, for one, like, I don't glorify this lifestyle. It's not cool to be a drug addict and an alcoholic. It's not cool to struggle. It can be fun, but a lot of the times it's fucking not. However, I do recommend quitting your job, packing a backpack, and hitchhiking across the country at least once for everyone.
I'm really interested in that cultural shift. Like, it seems like I see it more and more, and that's one thing.
If everyone did that, I feel like the world would be a lot better. Oh, and if you do, don't hitchhike through Texas because you'll walk 880 miles. No one will pick you up in Texas.